You're in a room full of people. It is a party, after work drinks, a gathering of friends. The music is at that perfect volume. The lights are warm, everyone is laughing, talking, leaning into each other, and you're standing there holding your drink, smiling at the right moments, nodding when you're supposed to nod. From the outside, you look fine. You look present. You look like you belong. But inside there is this quiet hum, this weird hollow distance between you and everyone else. Like you're watching the whole thing through a glass window. You can see them, you can hear them, you can even make them laugh, but you can't feel them, and they can't feel you. You look around the room and you think, how is everyone else so comfortable? How do they just be here? Here's the truth no one tells you. Loneliness isn't being alone, you know that already. Being alone is simple. You can close the door, make tea, put on music, and be fine. Alone has boundaries. Alone has an ending. The kind of loneliness that cracks people open happens in rooms exactly like that one. Full of people, full of noise, full of connection happening all around you, and you're the only one not in it. Loneliness isn't the absence of people. It is the absence of yourself in a room full of them. Because here is what is actually happening. You're not lonely because they don't like you. You're not lonely because you said something wrong. You're not even lonely because you're awkward or shy, bad at this. You're lonely because they're not talking to you. They're talking to someone else. They're talking to the version of you that you've spent years building. The version that laughs at the right time. The version that agrees when it is easier. The version that never asks for too much, never feels too much, never shows too much. They're talking to your mask, and you're standing right behind it, listening to the whole conversation, wondering if anyone in that room would still be talking if the mask slipped, wondering if anyone would still be smiling if they saw what is really back there. You feel like a ghost in your own life, present enough to be seen, but not real enough to be known. That is the loneliness that doesn't have a name. It is not grief. It is not depression. It is not social anxiety. It is something quieter. Something that happens when you've gotten so good at being what people expect, you've forgotten how to be what you actually are. And the scary part? The mask works. It works really well. People like it. They compliment it. They invite it to more parties. They trust it. They love it. But every time they love the mask, a small part of you dies, because you know the truth. They don't love you. They love the face you're wearing, and you're left standing there, in a room full of people, holding a drink, smiling, thinking, if they knew me, really knew me, would anyone stay? Let's be honest about something. You didn't wake up one day and decide to be fake. You didn't sit down as a kid and think, you know what would be great? If I spent the next 30 years hiding who I actually am. The mask arrived the way most masks do. Slowly, quietly, one situation at a time. Psychologists have a name for this. They call it the persona. It is a term Carl Jung came up with. It means the social face you wear in public, the version of you. That has been shaped by what the world expects, not by what you actually feel. And here is the thing about the persona. It is not evil. It is not a lie. It is actually necessary. You need a version of yourself that can walk into a job interview, handle a difficult conversation, make small talk at a party where you don't know anyone. The problem starts when the persona stops being a tool and starts being a cage. Think back, way back. When was the first time you learned that your real feelings weren't welcome? Maybe you were 6, you were angry about something. You threw a tantrum, and the adult in the room didn't ask why you were angry, they just told you to stop, to be good, to smile. Maybe you were 10, you came home from school sad, something happened. A friend said something mean, you wanted to talk about it, but everyone was busy. Dinner needed making, the TV was on. Your sadness was just in the way, so you learned quietly. Without anyone teaching you directly, you learned that sadness makes people uncomfortable, anger makes people pull away, neediness makes people tired, realness makes people leave. You didn't learn to wear a mask. You learned that your face was too much for people to handle, so you started adjusting. You stopped crying in front of others. You stopped saying what you actually thought, if it might cause a problem. You stopped asking for help because asking for help meant admitting you couldn't handle it alone. And here is the part that is easy to miss. This wasn't just about behavior. This was about wiring. Your nervous system learned that safety comes from matching. Match the mood of the room. Match what people expect. Match, match, match. Don't stand out. Don't be too much. Don't let them see the parts that don't fit. By the time you were a teenager, the mask wasn't something you put on anymore. It was just you, or at least it was the you that everyone else seemed to prefer. You got good at it. Really good. You learned how to laugh even when nothing was funny. How to agree even when you didn't. How to be the person people wanted you to be, even when that person felt nothing like who you were when the door closed at night. And people rewarded you for it. They said you were easy to be around. They said you were chill. They said you were fun. They said you were so together for someone your age. The world applauded your mask, so you kept wearing it, even after it started hurting your face. That is the trap. Because now, years later, you're in a room full of people, and they're all interacting with the mask. The one you've been polishing since you were old enough to realize your real face made people uncomfortable. They think they know you. They have no idea, and the loneliness you feel. It is not because no one sees you. It is because they're seeing the wrong you, and you're the one who put that wrong you in front of them. You're not invisible. You're just wearing a face that isn't yours, and the scariest part, even you've started believing it is real. Here is the part that doesn't make sense to most people. If you ask someone why they wear a mask, they'll tell you it is because they want to be accepted. They want to fit in. They want people to like them, and it works. The mask gets accepted. The mask fits in. People like the mask. So why do you feel worse? Why does standing in that room being liked by those people leave you feeling more empty than if you just stayed home alone? Because acceptance without accuracy isn't connection. It is a transaction. Think about it. When someone laughs at your joke, are they laughing at you? Or are they laughing at the version of you that you've trained to be funny on command? When someone says they enjoy your company, do they enjoy you? Or do they enjoy the person who never disagrees, never gets heavy, never brings the mood down? You don't know. And that is the problem. They're not clapping for you. They're clapping for the character you're playing, and you're backstage, dying for someone to call you by your real name. This is where the loneliness gets its teeth in, because every time the mask gets accepted, you face the same quiet question. If they knew the real me, would they still be here? And because you never test that question, because you never let the mask slip, you'll never know the answer, so your mind fills in the blank with the worst possible outcome. No, they wouldn't. That is why you're wearing the mask in the first place. That is the loop. That is the trap. You wear the mask to be accepted. You get accepted, but the acceptance doesn't reach you. It reaches the mask, so you feel unseen, so you wear the mask more carefully, hoping maybe this time someone will see through it. But no one does, because you're wearing it too well. You feel like a spy in your own life. You hear people praise the mask and you want to scream. That is not me. But instead you just smile brighter. Psychologically, this creates something called self-alienation. It is a fancy term for a simple feeling. You become a stranger to yourself. The person everyone else sees doesn't match the person you feel like inside, and over time, that gap stops feeling like a choice and starts feeling like a fracture. You watch yourself from a distance. You monitor your own behavior. Did I laugh too loud? Did I agree too fast? Did I say the right thing? You're not living your life. You're managing a performance, and the audience, they're doing the same thing. Look around that room. Again, look at their faces. Really look. You think you're the only one wearing a mask? You think you're the only one performing? They're all doing it too. Every single person in that room has a version of themselves they're hiding. Every single one has a face they put on when they walk through the door. Every single one is wondering the same thing, if they really knew me. So here is what happens. A room full of people, all wearing masks, all interacting with each other's masks, all secretly hoping someone will be brave enough to take theirs off first, and no one does. Because taking it off feels like dying. Taking it off means risking the only thing the mask ever gave you, the feeling of being accepted, even if it wasn't really you they accepted. We're all screaming, "I'm lonely," from behind our masks, and wondering why no one answers. That is the deal you made. Somewhere along the way, you traded being known for being liked. You traded depth for smoothness. You traded real connection for comfortable transactions. And now you're standing in a room full of people, holding a drink, smiling, wondering why you feel so alone. You're alone because no one in that room has met you, and you're the reason they haven't. Let's flip it. Everything we just talked about assumes the mask is something other people force on you, that you're a victim of social pressure, that you'd be real if only the world was safe enough. But here is the truth you probably don't want to hear. You're not just wearing the mask because they expect it. You're wearing it because it protects you. The mask isn't just a tool for being liked. It is a shield for not being rejected. And as long as you're behind it, you never have to face the one question you're most afraid of. What if the real me isn't enough? Think about it. When you're behind the mask, rejection doesn't hurt the same way. If someone doesn't like you, you can tell yourself they didn't reject me. They rejected the character. They don't even know me. The mask gives you an exit, an escape hatch, a way to keep your real self safe, untouched, unjudged. But here is the cost. That same escape hatch keeps you locked in. The crowd isn't a cage. It is a hiding place. You're not trapped by their expectations. You're hiding behind them. You tell yourself you want to be seen. You complain about feeling lonely. You scroll through social media watching other people connect and wonder why it is so easy for them. But when was the last time you actually let someone see you? Not the polished version. Not the one who has it together. Not the one who agrees and laughs and makes everything easy. The real you. The one that gets irritable for no reason. The one that is scared of failing. The one that sometimes doesn't want to talk, doesn't want to perform, doesn't want to be on. When was the last time you let that version show up? If you're honest, the answer is probably never, or once, a long time ago, and it went badly, and you promised yourself you'd never do it again. That is the wound. You weren't born wearing a mask. You put it on because something happened. Someone hurt you. Someone made you feel like your real self was too much, too heavy, too weird, too needy. And you decided right then that it was safer to be someone else. And it was safer for a while. But safety isn't connection, and protection isn't belonging. You built a fortress to keep people out. Now you're lonely inside it, wondering why no one visits. This is the part that is hard to swallow. The loneliness you feel in that room full of people. You helped build it. Every time you chose the safe response over the honest one. Every time you laughed when you wanted to cry. Every time you agreed when you wanted to scream. Every time you kept your mouth shut because speaking felt too risky. You chose the mask over and over. For years, not because you're weak, not because you're fake, because you learned early that the mask kept you safe. But here is the thing about safety. Once you have enough of it, it stops feeling like protection, starts feeling like a cage. And then you're left with the worst kind of loneliness, the kind you did to yourself. You're not lonely because they don't see you. You're lonely because you never let them. So where does that leave you? Still in the room, still holding the drink, still smiling, still wondering if anyone would stay if the mask slipped. But now you know something you didn't know before. They're not the reason you're alone. You are.